Shedeur Sanders just made Cleveland Browns history, snapping the 17-game losing streak that quarterbacks have had in their first start as a Brown. This game was for all the Shedeur supporters that have watched this entire season unfold. Really everything over the last 8 months has led up to this moment. He silenced the haters, made some incredible plays, did make some mistakes. Obviously, he's a young player who had no reps the entire offseason and no reps through the first 10 weeks of the actual season. And considering the circumstance, he overall played as well as you could have hoped for. Deoin was of course in attendance and was loving life. The Browns just had a completely rejuvenated sideline in terms of energy. Things just felt different. There was a sense of optimism. I've never seen Myles Garrett all smiles like that before. Shedeur was right in his pregame interview. He is the answer, and I don't think we want to go back from here. In this video, I want to break down some of the main plays from the Browns' 24-10 victory in Vegas. I want to analyze how Shedeur did with all bias aside, because his performance was even better than the stats show. And I want to talk about what all of this means for the Browns moving forward. But before I begin, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind. We are on the road to 60,000 subscribers, and with your support, I believe that we can get there super fast. Alright, so coming into this game, there was an unreal amount of hype. Coming from two of the worst teams in the league with 2-8 records, Shedeur may have created one of the highest rated games in the league, and everyone was waiting to see what he would do, because even though he did get in the game last week in the second half against the Ravens, that was with no reps, that was with Dillon Gabriel's game plan, and the Ravens just blitzed the house. So with no preparation, there was not much Shedeur could do. He was not on the same page as his receivers, which led to that bad interception, but we instantly saw the difference when he was on the same page with his guys. Shedeur opened up the game with a few short throws. He was kind of just taking what the defense was giving him. The O-line looked drastically different from last week, albeit it was against a weaker opponent, and that definitely played a big factor. The Browns receivers did not get open a lot in this game, I'm just going to be honest about it, but because Shedeur has way more pocket awareness and presence than Gabriel, he was able to roll out and let plays develop, and that's where Shedeur found guys on deep balls. There is a reason why Mel Kiper had Shedeur as the number 2 player on his board. He has so much talent and a touch on his passes that we have not seen this season. And while yes, he had that bad interception, and while sometimes he got antsy with his footwork, if you look at the film, the interception made sense. You could see why a rookie would make that mistake. The Raiders' drop coverage was really good on that play. And like I've been saying this whole time, Shedeur just has so much more arm strength than Deoin. Being able to throw the ball down the field opens up the offense. There is no way Kevin Stefanski can go back after what we saw in this game. Shedeur also in his press conference just showed so much maturity. He talked about how the last 6 months were not the best for him in terms of preparing, but he talked about how nobody cares. Nobody cares if you're not ready. You got to go out there and play no matter the situation. He talks about how everything he went through kind of made him not nervous. He said he did all the work, watched all the film he could. This game was all about execution, so he really went into this game with that no fear, almost delusional mentality, and that's what you have to have. Even if things were not perfect, the energy alone was a complete turnaround from what we have seen over the last 10 to 11 weeks. One thing that just became so obvious in this game is that the Browns need to get a receiver over the offseason. Jerry Jeudy is absolute garbage, and he's a hothead. If he played for the Steelers, Mike Tomlin would have benched him by week 6. What was he doing out in the open field, just like skipping around? I have never been more pissed off by something in my life before. He just does not have a care in the world anymore. He either drops the ball, catches it, and fumbles, or just doesn't get open at all. Today was my breaking point with Jerry Jeudy. But to be more positive, I was super happy with how Harold Fannin Jr. played. It's insane to me how David Njoku doesn't even get used anymore. But obviously in a lost season, the Browns are just trying to get Fannin involved and to get him to develop, because he is the future. Njoku is going to be gone after this season because he's on a contract year. So it makes sense, but it's still wild to me that you have a guy like Njoku and he's ending the game with 0 receptions. It's just that's wild. Fannin was great though when he had space to work with. The dump off passes was another thing I wanted to talk about. Shedeur put some touch on his throws. Dillon, especially over the last few weeks, has just been spiking balls into the ground. It's just the little things. Shedeur showed me everything I wanted to see today. Outside of maybe a couple of instances, he avoided big mistakes that could have been costly. For this being his first start, I have to give Shedeur a B+ for his performance. And moving forward, I would like to see the Browns let him get in more of a rhythm. I know it worked today, but as we all know, this season is already a wash. When Shedeur makes a good pass, let him follow it up with another one. Don't run wildcat. That's the stuff that is so annoying to me, because if you're trying to find out if you have a future franchise QB, you're not going to do so by taking the ball out of his hands. Now, I understand he is a rookie with not a lot of reps, so I'm not saying by limiting his high pressure situations they were trying to stop him from succeeding. He could have thrown another bad interception in the red zone, so even though it was annoying to watch, I get it. But next week I would like to see the playbook opened up even more. I am just so relieved that Shedeur did what he did yesterday, because you could tell pregame he was super nervous. He still had that delusional confidence where he said, "I'm what they've been looking for," but he came out and really just let the work speak for itself. After that bad interception, I was pretty impressed with how he adjusted and threw a bunch of balls away. He knew the defense was playing at an elite level, so he didn't want to mess anything up. The Browns could have probably just kneed the ball the entire second half and won the game. I know it was the Raiders, and they are about as bad as the Dolphins at the time we played them, but on the West Coast, the Browns never win these games. I know the Browns season is already over, but this was just so refreshing. I have never felt so optimistic after a Browns game, really since the Baker days. Shedeur showed us that he has such a higher ceiling, and one that Deoin just can't attain. I have no desire to watch a 49ers game with Deoin at quarterback, and I don't want to make this an anti-Deoin thing. I know I've hated on him in the past, and I know he had a concussion and was hurt last week, but there's just no way the coaching staff doesn't see what we all just saw. This team has struggled to put up 20 points all season. Yesterday the Browns put up 24, should have had 27. I'm not sure what that decision to punt was, overtaking a field goal at the 29 to go up by 3 possessions. But anyways, this week against the 49ers, if Shedeur does start like I think he will, he needs to prepare for pressure, because you know the Niners are going to bring the house like the Ravens did. I'm not sure why the Raiders did not, but I think even in just 2 weeks, Shedeur has adjusted his game so much. Again, I know it's hard to tell because the Raiders were not blitzing, but he was stepping up in the pocket, rolling out. He did not run back 20 yards. Next week, if he is feeling the pressure, he's going to need to continue to roll out. Shedeur is best when he's on the move. He has a ton of arm talent. His best throw to Bond was on the run, so I am looking forward to see what 12 does in his follow-up performance next week. Here's what Shedeur had to say in his post-game interview.
I'm not going to lie, I felt very relaxed, and half of that comes from preparing, studying, and knowing I got God on my side. So throughout all that, I had no worries. I didn't feel nervous or anything before the game, because, you know, like, he took all my worries and everything away. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. Coming up here before y'all, 6-7 months ago, I couldn't tell you I'll be here. You know, God, the only way I'm able to even get through everything, you know. Being able to see my family, that was important, and I'm happy they was here to be able to witness it.
That's really all I got for this video. Thank you all so much if you made it to this point. Let me know what you guys thought about Shedeur's performance in the comments below. Also, make sure to grade him. I gave him a B+. I'm sure I'll see some A's. I'm sure I'll see some C's. I know everyone has a different opinion, and it kind of depends on the context too, because I'm grading him based on Browns QBs. In terms of the league, obviously it was probably like a C-, but still, nonetheless, I'm super optimistic and excited to watch Shedeur moving forward. He needs to start next week against San Francisco. Let me know what you guys would like to see next, and until then, I will see you all later.